You're listening to Insight from Capital Public Radio. We're also at capradio.org/insight. I'm Jeffrey Callison. Time for this week's Sound Advice, our weekly music feature. The fourth Thursday of the month, we'll listen to new rock and pop records with Nick Bruner, host of Capital Public Radio's online show Off Air at smartrockradio.org. Nick, welcome back.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Who are we going to start with today?
It's been a long time since I heard such a great, concise, short, sad song that really stuck with me. And this is a great example of that. It's called You Won't Be Here by PerfumeGenius.
You Won't Be Here by PerfumeGenius, and that's on the latest edition of Off Air, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That is from this week's episode.
Very intimate sounding. It's almost like you sort of stumbled into someone's living room while they're playing some music with friends, and it's very nice.
Oh, that's it reminds me of many a Sunday afternoon after some girl just rebuked my love. So, growing up in high school and college, maybe that's what that trigger was from. The next album is a little more upbeat, and the name of it's a group, but it's actually just one gentleman, a 21-year-old from Los Angeles named Will Weisenfeld, better known as Baths. This is a really wonderfully cool song with some just cool beats, and not to say cool as in, hey, Hepcat, that's cool, but to me, I can almost feel a temperature coming off of this track.
Wow, it's kind of shocking when those beats come in there. But
I can see your eyes almost jump out of your head.
Yeah, and it's like it might not work, but it does. It's perfectly done.
It seems just off the beat enough to go, oh, that makes complete sense.
Yes.
In keeping with the sort of downbeat, down-tempo grooves and trip-hop feeling, Morcheeba has a new album out, and this is the title track from Blood Like Lemonade.
Very catchy and poppy, but a little sinister, too.
A little sinister, and almost actually, I would go so far as to say that's a ballad. I don't find many trip-hop ballads in my digging through record bins, but Morcheeba's got it pretty nailed down with this one.
And what a great title, Blood Like Lemonade.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're listening to Sound Advice on Insight. My guest, as every fourth Thursday of the month, is Nick Bruner, host of Off Air, Capital Public Radio's online music show at smartrockradio.org. We're listening to new releases, but we're going to go into the vault.
Yes, the vault of 2008 and 2009. All the way back. This is for a very specific reason, because the Wanderlust Music and Yoga and Feel Good High Up on a Mountain Festival.
Squaw Valley?
Yes, that is coming up. The headliner this year is a well-known DJ by the name of Moby. Here's a guy who I've been listening to since high school, and also in keeping with sort of our downbeat theme with the last couple of tracks. This comes from his 2009 record called Wait For Me.
Take my hand, Lord. Take my hand, Lord. All alone, this tedious journey. Won't you take my hand? Let me sleep now. Let me sleep now. Let me in.
Great combination of these sort of almost gospel, spiritual-like vocals, but with a synthesizer underneath it. Moby's quite a big name for Wanderlust.
Well, Moby's probably one of the biggest names. Well, one of the biggest names. The festival's only 2 years old. But don't discount last year. They had Broken Social Scene and Spoon, who've been in the industry for decades now, as well as Andrew Bird. And this year they're taking, the organizers of the festival, that is, are taking a more sort of quieter approach, more of a DJ set angle this year, which is interesting. So there's not going to be concerts at the top of the mountain anymore. It's going to be all at the base at Squaw Valley, and it's going to be, I believe, indoors and outdoors.
So a little warmer and a little more oxygen to breathe.
A little bit more, yes.
We've got one more artist, I think, who's at Wanderlust.
Yes, this is the band I'm really looking forward to seeing, hopefully getting a chance to meet and do an interview for Off Air. This is the Brazilian Girls from their 2008 record called New York City.
Some people want nothing and need nothing and are free. We just want to have a good time. I just want good time. Just want good time. Just want good time.
Well, that's great. That does end us on a slightly peppier note.
Kind of wakes us up a little bit after those first 4 tracks, I think. Yes.
Getting back to Off Air, we've been talking about Wanderlust. We just heard tracks from 2 artists who are going to be at Wanderlust this year. You got an interview with Graham Elwood, the comedian, on the latest Off Air.
Yes.
Why were you speaking with him?
I was speaking with Graham Elwood because we played his comedy bits on our show before, and he was back in town with Doug Benson doing what they're calling the Pot the Vote Tour. They're going through different cities in California raising awareness on Prop 19. They're urging a yes vote, of course. The interesting thing about Graham is he does not smoke pot. He doesn't even drink. He's kind of a fitness nut. So we talk about everything from comedy to politics, comic books, and movies. It's a big chunk of this week's episode. I really hope you go and check that out.
That's great. Nick Bruner, host of Off Air, Capital Public Radio's online music and comedy show at smartrockradio.org. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
That's Insight. I'm Jeffrey Cowles, and today's associate producers were Mara Ponce and Natalie.